Okay, with Jean Frenette, Deja Vu is the short film played at the Action Adventure Film Festival. It's 14 minutes long. He is from the Quebec Montreal region. Really interesting film. It's definitely an action adventure film, but it's also, you can also argue there's a mystery element to it. Tone wise, it's a mystery, and then it's also got fantasy and sci-fi elements to it too, I guess, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I always like the idea. The subject on its own is very intriguing, like it's mysterious,
Yeah.
and I find that it gives us like so much space for creativity, when you get into that world. So, and that's something that, and because I've done a lot of research on it, and some religion believe in reincarnations and past life and whatnot. But this is not a documentary about that. But it's very interesting, to get into that kind of subject, and then you can explore different things. Then it becomes all your imagination.
Well, it's in the title, I guess, right? It's the feeling when you've done something before, you've been somewhere before that you like that like in your present day that you've never been there, like say a city or an area, you've never been there, but
Yeah.
then you get this tingling feeling that, wait a minute, something feels weird here, I guess, right?
Yeah, you've been
Instinctively.
there. You've been there before. You meet sometimes people, like I've been, traveling around the world because of martial arts and everything. And then, you meet somebody. I met somebody like in Sweden, and it instantly there's a connection. It feels like you know that person from way before or something, and then when you leave, you got to kind of know inside of you, oh, I'll see that person again, that kind of thing. So it's kind of that deja vu kind of moments. Everybody has that at some point in their life. Some people, you talk to some people and they have it all the time, so it's just interesting, and it's nice to build a story that has quite a bit of depth, because I'm developing that into a TV series right now. And so, yeah, it's just fun. You can let your creativity go, it's really nice.
So this is a kind of a proof of concept for a television show. Is that what you're basically
It,
alluding at?
it, it was not that in the beginning, but the
Yeah.
way it turned out, that's the reaction of everybody. They're like some people that are in this, because I've been in the industry for quite some time, and some people go, "Wait a minute, that's cool as a short, but that is also kind of a stepping stone for something else." I'm like, I didn't think of it that way, but I like the fact that I like to do things a bit different than being in the standard type of structure, and I love the idea of handing with a cliffhanger, or, okay, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on there? Or, you kind of get there's more to it, type of thing, as opposed to just closing the chapter at the end of a short. So that was the idea at the beginning. So
So I'm curious, guy. I want to go way back, not way back, but I want to talk about your origin story. So you're a karate, you do karate. You're the five-time world karate champion, correct?
exactly, yeah, yeah. That's where all that traveling come from, like just going on. I still training karate, still teach, all over the world, and yeah.
How old were you when you started karate?
I started judo when I was 6 years old. I did that for 4 years. Then the Bruce Lee movie came out, and then I just fell in love with the. We used to call it karate movie back then, but he was doing kung fu. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how it started. Yeah, so yeah,
And now it's suburban kind of like popular thing. It's like I'm assuming it doesn't have the state like the popularity that when you started that it does now.
exactly.
Are you surprised by
No,
the popularity it's had in terms of kids and like in deep in all the karate? There seems like every block I go, and I live in suburbia. There's a karate place.
for sure, for sure. But I think we, back in the '70s, was the Bruce Lee movie, and then Sonny Shiba, and
Yeah,
some of the Jackie stuff that came up right after that. But then you get into the '80s, like the Ninja Turtle, the Karate Kid, and that
yeah.
was a big wave. So that made like karate very, very popular. And like I said, earlier, like back in the days, we saw we're going to go see a karate movie. It was a kung fu movie, but for some reason we would use the word karate. But there's actually a lot
But
of the Hong Kong movies.
in the '70s, this was a niche. This wasn't people didn't know this, right? Like you alluded that like these are foreign films, right? Nobody was making
Yeah.
karate movies in the United States.
No, no, only Chuck Norris started with the Good Guys Wear Black, but that's like back in '77 or maybe or
Yeah.
'78, something like. Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's very popular nowadays for sure.
No, it's amazing. I know nothing about karate, but my son started taking it and he's 5 and he loves it more than anything. So that's what I was intrigued by. Like he wants to go as much as it possible. Like, yeah, this is his thing. So I think it does
Mhm.
a lot of like from a psychological standpoint in terms of discipline and like the I think it's a really cool thing. Like I never did it growing up, so I'm looking from his perspective. I think it's amazing, like what they're teaching
Absolutely.
kids.
Yeah, no, it's great for discipline and concentration, and there's so many positive impact to a human being to train in any martial art. I mean, we're talking about karate, but it could be anything
Yeah,
else, could be taekwondo, anything. What I don't I can't call it a sport to me because it's an art,
yeah.
and it gives so much to a person, to their own personal development that you can't deny it, the how good it does to a person,
So
mentally and physically.
what stands out in your film, obviously there's more to it. There's a great story here, but that the sword fight is when you walk away from it and like that's pretty intense. That was pretty amazing the way you choreographed the sword fight. And I'm
Yeah.
curious about that process. You've choreographed things before? Did you work with a choreographer? I'm curious about that whole how you kind of process that whole scene.
Yeah. Okay. So if you just backtrack again, I've been in the industry for 40 years. So as a stunt performer, stunt
Okay.
coordinator, and a director. So obviously combat arts are my niche basically. And so obviously I want to be I'm directing, so I didn't want to start choreographing. So I had a very good stunt performer, choreographer, Thomas Lorber. So I had him to design the fight. I gave him some guideline what I want to go, and then I would just come in, and just make some correction, but let him, express himself through the design of choreography, understanding where I want to go with this. And the important thing about it is like I'm a big fan of Kurosawa, his movies back in the 50s and 60s and all. And I like those old Japanese samurai movie, like with Toshiro Mifune, Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Zatoichi, and so on and so forth. Even to your more recent, like Lone Wolf and Cub. So these Japanese movies have the big impact on me, as a fan, but also creatively. But I want to make kind of an homage, to Kurosawa's type of filming. I didn't want to do a, ninja assassin kind of thing with a lot of flippy and wire work and everything else. So I want to stay more traditional into the sword fight on its own,
Yeah.
and telling the story in the fight too, because as they fight, you find out, what was going on and why these two guys are there, and to me it was very important because then I can't kind of sets the stage to really, okay, this is the past life, so what's going on today, and obviously, we know now, we have a good hint.
Yeah, no, it's just an amazing fight. So like not the open it up. I'm just curious about the sword itself. Like how do you do it? I'm assuming it's not a real sword.
No, but it's always a combination, all the beauty shot, the close-ups, we use a real sword, so you get
Okay.
the nice. And then all the fight, I mean, if you historically we used to do it with aluminum blades, so it doesn't cut, it's nice and polished, it looks good from wide shots, everything is fine. Then it went into there was a trend at some point we used to have built over in England swords made out of bamboo, and then put a nice coating on it, gives a good look of stainless steel
Mhm.
type of thing. Two, nowadays we go a lot with it's called polypropylene, which is it's kind of a hard plastic, But now the blade that you saw in my movie, they're from that company, and they make a special coating on it that gives a stainless steel look, and it looks like, it looks really good. But then at the same time, it's not sharp, so it keeps our performer safe. So yeah, that's
Oh,
where we yeah.
how much is the way?
The weight, it's much lighter than a regular katana.
Because the
It's
way they're acting is that like this is a heavy sword. It's like I'm like it's really cool the way they do it. It's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
That's exactly what so again, from performing for so many years, and directing action, and also choreographing, that the body language is very important. So if you have a sword, if we had done we've done like 300 and other movies where the sword is supposed to be in real life 15-20 pound, then well, it has to look in your hand like it's 15-20 pound.
Yeah.
Or with the cat, it's the same thing, it's a longer blade. So how do you extend your arm? And that's what would be the feeling. So you do the exercise with a real one, on your own, then you
Mhm.
start to get, so you try to incorporate that into your body language when you do the fight with the movie sword,
Yeah.
So
And
the
I
body
see the
language is
I see the 300. poster behind your shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So big fan.
Oh, that it was an amazing experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the we'll get to the main your main actor in a second, but the two fighters,
Yeah.
where did you find them? You worked with them previously?
Yes, absolutely. The stunt actor who plays John, but in his previous life, his name is Masayuki. His name is Nobuya Shimamoto. Nobuya Shimamoto, I met Nobuya 10, 12 years ago. He was a, international jiu-jitsu champion and grappling and everything else. And actually, he joined my stunt team back then, and we hit it off because obviously my love for fighting arts and great performers and with good attitude. I'm always open arms, to welcome anybody that has that kind of a good balance between the two. So Nobuya joined in, so he helped me a lot with the Japanese language, also because everything is legit. And also Nobuya plays in Shogun right now. He's up until episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. So plays Josen. And the other fighter is Jason Su, is Chinese performer, but Jason's amazing, super Wushu international champion, but also picks up everything. When you have somebody that has really good martial art of fighting art background, they can adapt to any kind of style. As you teach them, they just pick it up real quick. So in the case of Jason, he made it like flawless, even the Japanese language too. So that was interesting. So these are two guys that are just like amazing performers.
So you said you shot the film in 3 days, according to your director statement.
Yep.
How many days were you out in the forest? Just the one day?
So in the forest was one day, actually 1 day and a half, but we did one day, but we got caught in the rain. So that caused some delays, right? So we lost maybe an hour and a half in our day, and it was in the fall, it was in October. So obviously the daylight is not as long as in the summer.
Yeah.
So but we lost. So basically I shot everything I need to shoot wide because I knew I was going to get into a little jam at some point if I start to stop and start doing the inserts. And I said,
Mhm.
I'll come back couple weeks later for 2, 3 hours, and we shot all the inserts I needed. So had day and a half in the forest. We did half a day downtown Montreal, guerrilla style, on a Saturday morning to shoot the downtown stuff, and then
Yeah.
one day in the yeah.
Oh no, it was fantastic. And like just because it's really nice direction too. Like you got some great choreography, but the way you kind of directed the fight scene, like then it was very effective. And you got great costumes, nice blood with the makeup crew. They did it was a very effective, it was very realistic job. They did it was just felt real that they were really fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're right, because I didn't want to go overboard. Sometimes, like too much blood, like
Yeah.
blood's like a Kill Bill style, or some of the Japanese movie, where blood's splattering everywhere. So I want to keep it very true, more realistic and simple, because to me, in this case, I want to keep it like as real as possible.
So your lead actor is it's Raphael, correct? Raphael's your lead actor.
Yes,
And where did
Ross
you find
Harvey.
him?
Uh, where did I find him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, my casting director, Andrea Canyon and Randy Wells in Montreal, is like one of the prominent casting house in Montreal. When I told them, I said, listen, this is what I'm looking for. This is the kind of acting chops I'm looking for. And then they suggested Raphael, and I saw his reel. I'm like, yeah, 100%. The guy is like really, really good. And he's not he's more, and which that is what I like. The less is more kind of actor. He's not overdoing it. I think
Yeah.
making too just subtle. So he's, when you watch him closely, he's very subtle in everything he does, which is, very powerful actually.
Well, it's a weird, it's a not a, I was gonna say weird, but not a weird performance. It's a unique performance because he's reacting to inside internally to this other experience. So he's kind of playing with himself in a lot of ways, right? Like it's a very unique
Yeah,
performance. Like it's because he's
that's
got
it.
to
Yeah,
find something inside of him that's effective on camera.
absolutely. And also what I want to do is I don't want I did I want to keep the audience with him and what he's feeling,
Yeah.
as opposed to kind of separate everything. Okay, this is the fight in the forest and this is him in the office. No, we are with him and we're experiencing with him, what's happening, in this voyage, right?
And then the I guess the doctor psychiatrist scene, I guess it's Lynn Adams. You kind of end the movie in a twist where like where like, you kind of want us, you kind of like leave us hanging a little bit, I guess, right?
That's it. That's what I mentioned earlier. I didn't want to do things on too much of a conventional way where you have a nice wrap up at the end.
Yeah.
I want to keep it more on a cliffhanger kind of. And also because the thing is like when you think about it, what if, that it does exist for real and sometimes we don't know because you're not conscious, but let's say you had other lives and unfinished business and now they're chasing a little bit like Highlander or you're chasing, they're chasing each other because they want to finish something they haven't finished 2, 3, 4, 500 years ago, and
Yeah.
then reincarnate into a body. But then it takes maybe 2, 300 years to be able to reconnect to that person. So anyway, the idea is again it's in my mind and my creativity of having people, the audience also to travel and live something different, with the character,
Yeah.
what he's going through. Yeah.
So do you
So to me, it
believe,
was very important.
do you believe in past lives?
I believe, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I do. Yeah. And I've been a Buddhist, practicing Buddhism since I'm like 15 years old. So yeah, still go to Japan every year and I go to temple and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I think so. I believe in it. But at the same time, that's just me. But I find the subject like very intriguing and very interesting. And
Mhm.
then it permits you like in terms of writing or creating, those characters and their past life and what happened before and why are they happening, why this is happening now today, why is he waking up and he has that feeling and he wants to reconnect. But I read a book also about a very prominent doctor in the US, and he had a patient where they start to do hypnosis and start to do regression and everything and then recorded she had like 86 past lives, like proven. So that's interesting. When you look at that, you go, oh, okay, that's interesting. And like I said again, this is not a documentary about that.
Yeah.
I just like the subject. And obviously you see that two things that, I like the subject, and also obviously there's a bit of martial art in it, but more, telling that story, into and the pine forest was shot here in Quebec, not far from my country house. And it's out of the blue. I was walking the dogs last year. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, that's perfect. Because I've been in Japan many times, so I've seen like bamboo forests and pine forests. I'm like, hey, this look exactly the same thing. So I could really travel there, in the movie. So yeah, so
Yeah,
that's what
no,
we
it's a
did.
highly effective film. I'm hopefully it's doing well on the festival circuit for yourself. I
So
really
far,
enjoyed it. It's doing well.
so far, so good. Yeah, we're like up to about 25 awards now. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And
that's great. That's great.
so you said you worked in the industry, you were doing choreography. Like, what's your experience directing kind of films like this? Like, have you directed a few of them?
No, it's my first short film. That's why
Your first
I
short
felt like,
film. Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah, it felt strange because I'm like, okay, because they give you the choice when you register, first time director. I mean, I can't write that because I've done like 190 movies as a stunt coordinator and
Yeah, but
action
but
choreographer.
this is like, yeah, on the film freeway, it says first time filmmaker, and you said no. But but this is your first directorial, this is your
Yeah,
directorial debut. So yes, it is.
exactly. Yeah, it is in a way, but I didn't feel comfortable because I have so much experience. So how can I pull it off in 3 days to do this? It's because of experience, right? I know everything is shot list, everything. We're not overdoing anything.
Yeah,
2, 3 takes max. Then we move forward because I prepare my actors properly. We do the read through, the standard procedures. But my motto is always clarity is power. So the clearer you are with your actors and your story you want to tell, your DP, everybody knows where they're going. This is the shot list. There's always room to creativity on the spur of the moment. So
sure.
well, let's do this, right? Because I think it's welcome when it happens, right? But you need to be organized, and I would say that's one of my fortes because of experience.
Well, okay, so so you've been working in the industry for a long time. What finally motivated you to make a short film, to direct your first film?
I no, it's not. It's actually the strike, the
Okay.
strike last because I've been so busy for the last 15, 20 years, like working 11 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So all these things that I have like other projects that are written, they're ready to go, but I never had the time because it was like snowballing. Everything was just moving, and I'm working a lot in Toronto and
Yeah.
Vancouver and the States and Europe. So it's like, okay, I got to do it at some point, right? And when the strike happened, I'm like, after 1 week, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, this is the time now. So we have to do this. So this is but now I'm changing a bit my my approach to the works. I'm slowing down a bit on the work as a stunt coordinator and second director into more focusing on my project.
Yeah.
So that's the thing now. Yeah, yeah,
So the
absolutely.
positive of the strike, a lot
There
of
you
this
go.
happened with COVID, where like a lot of people started
Yeah,
writing their
yeah.
own projects for the first time, making movies.
True.
Yeah,
True, exactly. Yeah. No, it's you got to turn the negative into a positive thing, you know. It's like, yes, financially, you know, everybody got hurt, you know, but for me it's like it was pointless to stay home and sit and whine or, you know, like try to think. I got so much stuff going on. I wrote so many little stories and treatment and
yeah.
script. I got a lot of stuff. So it's just no, it's just got to get up and do it, you know. You just can't stand and wait for something to happen.
I want to point out that I didn't point this out, and I apologize, but you worked on 300. You were a stunt coordinator or your stunt performer
No,
on
I
300,
was a
right?
stunt performer. Yeah, I was a
Yeah,
stunt performer, but on the core team, you know, fighting with Jerry and everybody else. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So you're fighting with like yeah on the that how was like I'm just curious like because you have the poster, so obviously you're very proud of it.
yeah, yeah,
When you were making the film and then when you finally saw the final product, were you kind of did you know what the vision was? Did you know what he was doing?
yeah, yeah. You know, with Zach, you know, obviously, you know, yeah, he was expressing pretty much. You know, you could see where he was going, but you won't know until you see the end product and on the big screen. You know, so we knew it was going to be great, but we didn't expect to be that huge of a success. You know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think about it like a sword and sandal movie again, you know, but it started a trend, you know, and then we started, I did Immortal after that, I did different kind of movies where we had like a lot of sword fighting, you know, Pompeii and different movies like that. Like, yeah.
Because I remember watching that film and I was just back, this is back in the day where I used to just go in the movies and I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know what I was watching. And
Mhm.
I remember
Yeah.
watching this film and I'm like, oh my God, like what this is unbelievable. This the way it looked, the way it felt. Like it was like we were in this dream and it was just like it just felt so intense. But yeah, anyways, it's amazing that you worked on it.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It was for me to this day, it's my best experience, you know, in the film industry, you
Yeah.
know, working on, yeah, as a performer, 100%. Yeah.
You got some you got an amazing lineup of credits here on your in your IMDb. Like you worked
A
with
little bit, yeah.
way back when you worked with Scorsese on The Aviator, right? Worked on The Notebook,
Yep. Yeah, 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 yeah. You
right?
know, the thing is, this is like sometimes, you know, like some people, for me personally, I'm always curious and I like to learn. So,
Yeah.
having worked with Mr. Scorsese for what, 2 months, 3 months, I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching him work. You know, it's like you gotta learn. You know, that's like a master class,
Yeah.
you know, getting paid to get a master class basically because you're sitting and you're there, you know, and I had the opportunity to have a discussion with him as well about filmmaking and all that. So throughout my career, I got to meet some amazing director, well known, some of them not as well known, but really, really good, really creative, which I learned. So this is the fruit of all these years of experience and meeting people and working with people and learning. And sometimes some director goes, "Hey, John, you see that? If I do it that way, I'm gonna be fucked up for editing, so I don't do this. You do it that way right away, then you'll be fine." So, you know, it's just the type that's early on in my career, but you know, with Philip Noyce. So, you know, that's the kind of thing on Bone Collector. So that you know, you learn, you know, as you work along, as you move forward, right? So I think it's the best school anyway to be on a movie set,
A
for
hundred
sure.
percent. I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. You just learn so much. Just like even the way you described like the structure, because it's a machine, right? And it's kind of it's a business in a sense, the way they structure everything. Everybody's got their jobs, there's a hierarchy. And then but then from an organizational standpoint, like you said, you did this film in 3 days because you knew what you needed to do to pull it off, right? So and you can
yeah,
only
yeah.
learn that, like you can't learn that in school. You can only learn that on set, being on set, right? So
That's it. Yeah. Also, the fact that I was, you know, I had an amazing crew, you know, like Michel Saint Martin as my DP and our
yeah.
first AD, and everybody, you know, wardrobe, everybody, like it was top-notch people. It was they were not like student, they were like people, you know, being impacted by the strike. So why not do something for a few days and have fun and just connect with friends? Because you know, we know each other for so many years, having worked together. Same with the actors, you know, whether it's Raphael or Nobuya or Lynn or Penand or Ako, all these people are like they're like veteran actors. They're like very well experienced people, but with a big heart, you know, that they were
Yeah.
willing to come and play for half a day or a day, you know. It was amazing.
Well, you were the stunt coordinator on Reacher, which is my father.
Oh.
Speaking of my father-in-law's from Montreal. That's his favorite show. So I'm gonna be happy to tell him his birthday's coming up. When he comes over this weekend, I'll tell him that I talked to the stunt coordinator of Reacher, and he'll be
Yeah, I did
impressed.
season 1. Yeah,
Sorry,
season 1.
season
Yeah.
one. Yeah, but still, what's the better
Yeah.
season, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think so.
yeah, yeah. So it's amazing. So what did you think? We sent the audience to you. What did you think what the audience had to say about your film? An audience
What,
feedback that we send you.
well, yeah, it's like I wrote, somebody was asking me like 2 words. I would say mind-boggling, but also exciting at the same time, and that touches your curiosity, mysterious, because of the way it is. Yeah, that's pretty much my
So
my
they got your
in
film, like the audience got your film, basically.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I was impressed because I saw some of the audio uh video comments from feedback, audio feedback, like audience feedback, and everybody was what they were saying is exactly what I was thinking. It was like, wow, I'm surprised that I guess I was clear in what I'm doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
No,
sometimes, okay,
I see a lot of short films. This is one of the better action films that I've seen in a long time. But I don't even want to categorize it as an action film, like I was saying to you.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
more I believe tone wise, it's a mystery, right? So basically, but
yeah.
it's really great. It's a really great film. So you know what you need to
Okay.
do. You need to make more movies. That's basically it.
Well, don't worry,
Yeah.
I'm not stopping. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
And
and it's
don't
funny
wait for the
because
strike. Don't wait for a strike to happen. Just
no,
do it.
no, 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 exactly. No, no, no. It's already in the pipeline right now. So yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh man, great. Yeah. So well, congratulations on the success of this film. Hopefully it should get in every film festival you submit to. It's really great. And let's talk again when you make your next film.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And good luck with the TV show pitching and hopefully you'll go
Yeah,
get off
that's
the
it.
track.
Coming up soon. Coming up soon. Yeah, yeah.
I
We'll
just want
talk
to point
again.
out, people check out your go to your IMDb and check out your credits. And it's extensive. It's like 30 years and it's like the who's who of action films and action TV shows. So you've been around.
Yeah.
That's a whole
Around
other
the block.
podcast we could have just about that, right? So,
We could do a separate podcast just for stunts.
all right, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Hey,
soon.
thank you so much. All right. Bye.